The Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America's Facebook Live series. My name is Bob Bianchi. I'm proud and honored to be the national president for the organization. We have an awesome, amazing guest today to finish our series for the fourth part of our series. Clarissa Burt is with us. She is not only, I call her a Renaissance woman. I got to be honest with you. She is a Renaissance woman. We have another Renaissance woman. We got two of them on one show. My co-host here, Dr. Mary Kovach. Just an amazing talent, a professor, an author, an expert cook, and Dr. Mark D'Annunzio. He's not practicing anymore, but if you ever needed to have a root canal, Mark is the guy to go to. You see that big smile on his face because he doesn't have to do that anymore. He is helping us with the national office. And Justin Smith from the national office, he's our guy that helps us with all of these Facebook Live series. We're so proud. We've had over hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. But I'm going to toss it over to Dr. Mary Kovach right now to introduce our amazing guest.
Thanks, Bob. I'm very excited to introduce Clarissa Burt. She is an internationally acclaimed media personality, producer, director, writer, author, and public speaker. Clarissa is the founder of In the Limelight Media, a multimedia platform consisting of TV, video, a podcast, and a digital magazine. And now she has her new book entitled The Self-Esteem Regime, and it was released last week.
Yeah, I know. How exciting. Thank you so much for that introduction. It is so cool to be on the other side of the Sons and Daughters of Italy Lives. Usually I'm hosting, and to be a guest is a great honor, you all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was just about to say, exactly that very point. Clarissa's a great host. She's a great interviewer. And she's actually an honorary member of our lodge in Rome, Italy, which we're so proud. Clarissa's lived many, many years and done her professional work in Italy, speaks Italian fluently. But I have to ask you, Clarissa, what I really love about your book is I am so into mindset. It's something that I've been practicing. I've been trained on. I actually have a radio show on it myself. Right. But what inspired you to write this book, your first book? First of all, big project, but why this topic?
Thank you. Because I had seen for so long, starting with my childhood, my mother, my grandmother, and then as I moved on in life, in my career, working as a model, all over the world, I had a phenomenal career, and I came across some of the most beautiful women on the planet. And I frequently would encounter women that just didn't see how beautiful and powerful they really were. How could they continue to treat themselves poorly, be in toxic relationships, not take care of their health, just all kinds of, go down the list, and things that just really bothered me. I want, you want to take somebody and shake them and say, don't you see it? And a lot of the times we don't see how gifted we truly are. I call them the daily demons, Bob. The ones that come in every day, and they're gonna talk to you and tell you something that is not beneficial to your growth. And a lot of the times it's you're not good enough, you're not young enough, you're not thin enough, you're not enough. And I'm here to tell you that just isn't the case. It's a false narrative that you create in order to not be able to live in your splendor, in your full potential. And it's something that I really just had to do. I broke the book down, Self-Esteem Regime. So here we go, just so you see it. I know you all have a copy too, and that's really great. Thank you. I broke it down into 12 chapters, and they are words. So the book is really it's a great read in that it's the 12 chapters, so easily bite-sized. I call it a regime because the regime is an organized way of doing things. And that means getting up and just stop looking for the excuses, just do it. And I make it easy. They're bite-sized pieces that have what I call a clarion call. They have Clarissa's Corner. They have affirmations. There is a little bit of homework. So there's a review of the chapter and a little bit of homework to do. You will be journaling throughout this book as well, which, by the way, is another really exceptional tool. There's mirror therapy. So, I know that Jack Canfield used mirror therapy. Louise Hayes introduced, I believe, mirror therapy. And that's when you actually talk to yourself in the mirror and you say these affirmations to yourself, which feels very weird in the beginning and it may sound odd. But I cannot tell you how powerful it is when you stand in front of a mirror and you look straight into your own eyes and tell yourself how much you love yourself. It's very emotional for a lot of people, and a lot of people have a hard time doing it. But these are some of the first steps in really, truly coming to grips with just how amazing you truly are. So I'm thrilled about the book. It's something I've been wanting to write for a good 10 years, and it finally came to fruition last week.
Yeah, that comment they made, Clarissa, about just doing it. I want to impress you with a statistic. I've written 17 books halfway. I've never been able to quite get to that final place. So how did you do it? And did you find that the writing and publishing is what you had expected it was going to be when you first started writing the book?
Yeah, and I'm not ashamed to say that I engaged a ghostwriter, or what we call a writing partner, if you will. Great guy, one of the best in the business, up in Connecticut. I walked through the book expo with him, the Javits Center, 4 years ago. And it was like walking down the street in New York with the mayor. I mean, everyone knew him. He's really well connected, and he saw me speak on stage. And after I got done, I came off stage, and he came over and said, "I have to write your book." And I thought, then I went, "We okay?" And I said, and he goes, "We're going to do a deal. Don't you worry, but I want this book." And he took it to Rowman and Littlefield in New York City, which was another really cool thing for me. Was my first book out was picked up by a New York publisher, which, by the way, is a global concern. So Rowman and Littlefield is they're a powerhouse. When I understood how they, we're coming off of the Me Too movement. We're coming off of the hands-off movement. We're coming off of all kinds of different movements that, we've seen in these last couple of years. And when I came up with the self-esteem regime, and I knew, and don't forget, right, we're also coming off of the last year and a half, almost 2 years of loss. Now, a lot of people took this time, don't get me wrong, and really got focused, as I did with my business, but there was a lot of loss, and that is loss of self, loss of marriages, loss of relationships, loss of life, loss of friends, loss of family members, loss of jobs. And so I really feel that the book is timely in that sense, that it's a great time to pull up your bootstraps and to really have a great, what I call a vademecum, a rah-rah session, if you will, that will really, put you in the right direction as you go through all of the steps. I say regime, yes, because it's an organized way of doing things, but it's not hard at all. It's really very freeing.
Amazing.
So, thank you, Bob. Congratulations again on your new book. I've already started reading it. I think it's real, it's authentic, it's practical, and it's uplifting. I also read that you actually started writing the book for you to get to know yourself better.
Yeah.
After writing down some of the notes that kind of evolved to writing it for us. So when I say us, I mean the student, the mom, the business owner, etc. What was the deciding moment when you made that switch, writing for you to others?
Because I just realized that, I have frequently been in a phenomenal position of being able to help other people. My help has been, with helping some associations and organizations, foundations, 501c3s, stepping up and being a spokesperson for them. But when I was actually able to take someone off the street, I took a call girl off the street in Las Vegas and brought her into my home for 4 months. Or I realized that my secretary, when I lived in Italy, who was a German girl, was really starting to implode. And I was able to finally get it out of her that she was being abused at home. I sent her home. I told her to go get her stuff, and she came and lived with me for a year until she got back on her feet. Now, they're only onesies, right? They're one-offs. But that was a deciding moment when I said, you know what, even if it's one, that's good. That I feel really good about that, and I know it changed the trajectory of their lives. And by the way, it doesn't make me bigger or better than anyone. It just makes me, I was put in the right place at the right time to be able to do what I did. And it just, for me to be able to write the book and reach the masses. Remember, for me, this isn't a book. This is a mission, and this is a movement. This is my greatest dream is to see every woman on the planet, and men. Don't get me wrong. This is, it's really more for, I think, written more for a woman, but men certainly can read the book and get something from it. This is a book so that people can learn to finally live in healthy, happy self-esteem. And I will add that if you get out of bed in the morning and your self-esteem isn't in check, you are not going to have a happy, healthy relationship with yourself or with others. So it's that important. People go, self-esteem, yeah, blah, blah, blah. It's an old catchword from the 60s and blah, blah. No. It's pretty much everything that you are exposing to the world. Who are you? What are your boundaries? What do you stand for? Are you comparing yourself to others? And why would you want to do that? Why aren't you thrilled to be you? So there's a lot of really great I think, great information in the book, but it's my baby. So I'm going to sit here and tell you, I think it's the greatest book on the planet.
It is. It's wonderful. And you touched on this earlier. The one thing that I found interesting is that you do have 12 chapters that all begin with a re-word: release, rebuild, responsibility, and so on. What inspired you to think of that re-theme?
You know, because in the beginning it was regime. I'm not quite sure, and that's a great question, but it was when I went regime and I went and it just to me it rang so strongly, that and I went, okay, let's get another 12 chapters. And by the way, each one of those chapters will live in social media as its own separate hashtag. So as the reader is going through the book, they can go in and find others that are in the community that are reading the book at that time and are on the same chapter, so they can go in and exchange thoughts like we will be doing, you know, in the mastermind, Mary. But it's just, you know, it's just a powerful it's just so powerful. So yeah, it just came to me. I don't know, it just came to me one day.
It's great. Mark?
Sure. Again, congratulations, Clarissa. I got my copy, and
Thank you. I know.
right, it's not just for women. It has practical tips for men, you know, self-confidence. We all need that.
Yeah.
So this is a very personal book. I could see that right away. You share your stories, your insecurities that people wouldn't otherwise know about you. You bare your soul. What are you most proud of? Sharing your story, helping others, the accomplishment of writing the book, all three? Tell us about that.
Well, I share my story, and I go a little bit, I go a little bit deep, if you will, because I think people take a look at me and go, "Oh my God, she's had a perfect life." You know, I mean, I have had an extraordinary life. I came from a difficult background. I'm not going to lie about that. And so it was, it was really, it was a struggle for me at times. I've been through depression. I've lived through anxiety. I've done the gamut, guys. So for me, and I really, I was really thrilled to be able to share that part of my life, so people would look at me and it would kind of, bring it down a couple of notches and say, wow, she's just like me. She's just had another, career. She did another job, whatever. And understand that, look, these are the kind of issues that are happening to everyone. I also like to remind you that I also collaborate with domesticshelters.org. It's a 501c3 that is here in Phoenix, Arizona, and they have shelters all over the United States, about 3,000, if not more. And these are women that I really want to get to. These are the women that live in and stay in toxic relationships. And, more than anything, to get out for you, most definitely. But what are you teaching the kids by staying? And so, people understand, women think that they can't get out, and yes, they're afraid. There's all kinds of things, but that is one organization that will show you, give you a blueprint to get you out. So they've also now, Mary, they did put me on the website as one of their resource books, which thrills me, because the idea that a woman that is in difficulty in that way and is fearful for her life, well, on many different occasions, and if not all the time, it's a very kind of PTSD kind of situation, right? So to be able to know that, my book is potentially, a read for women that need to get into a safer place is quite an honor for me.
Now, throughout the book, you already alluded to this. You have a section called Clarissa's Corner with succinct, applicable tips that can be used every day. How did Clarissa's Corner come about?
Well, first of all, it started out with Clarion Call, because I just love Clarion Call. It's just, it's a great, it's the kind of, the bell that calls everybody to attention. And there's a Clarion Call pretty much in every chapter. But Clarissa's Corner was just that one little extra oomph that I wanted to add as a thought or as a quote that, just kind of brought the chapter back home a little bit. So, do you guys think I'm Italian, by the way? Do I look
we could never tell. We could never tell. That must be it. That has to be that's a learned characteristic.
Hey, listen, I do the best I can, all right? But anyway, this is 30 years worth of living in Italy, just so you know.
Right.
Okay, don't have a drop of Italian blood in me, but I do have Italian citizenship. So, but I was always very animated. But yeah. So Clarion Call, it really comes from the Claire, C-L-A-R, from my name, and then Clarissa's Corner just sort of brought it home. something a little bit more, just again, to give a little extra oomph to the read.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Justin, do we have any questions from the audience?
You're on mute, Justin.
That makes it hard to be heard then. No questions at the moment, but check back in a few minutes, Mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anybody has questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah.
Clarissa, I wanted to ask you in the book Self-Esteem Regime, you talk about the 4 pillars: look good, feel good, be good,
And
the
greater.
greater good. What inspired those pillars?
You know, these are the 4 easiest. Those are the 4 that when you follow those, you know, they give you the boost, right? So if you're looking good, you're feeling pretty good. If you're feeling good means diet, exercise, nutrition, you're taking care of what's up, right? Like you have to be taking care of your body in order for your brain to be functioning properly. Be good is just everything that has to do with, you know, making sure that your finances are in order. And we do touch upon that in the book. There are a lot of women don't go down that path, and especially a lot of women that are in abusive situations, they rely on the guy in the family to take care of everything, finances, and then they find themselves in difficulty. So I bring home the fact and the importance of making sure that, you know, you've got your situation in hand. And it's your business, it's a lot of other things. Be good, but greater good is doing something for somebody else, because that's the easiest way to feel really good about yourself in a heartbeat. So these are just, again, you need those 4 pillars. You know, the chair needs basically, let's say, you know, the four legs to be able to stand. Yes, there are stools with 3. I get it, but we're talking chairs. And so, but I think that these are the most important pillars, if you will, that we can quickly refer to and say, well, how do I look? Great. What am I eating? Am I getting enough, sleep? Am I getting enough, water? All the self-care stuff. Being good. Are all of my affairs in order? You know, can I take care of myself on any given day? And then the greater good is, it's not just about me. Who else can we help? And I think that's just a really important part. Bob, you see it all the time,
Yeah, I was going to say, Clarissa, you said something. I don't know if you're aware that one of the committees that I newly formed when I became national president was the Women's Action Committee.
Nice.
And yeah, and 2 of the programs I want them to start off with, and I believe we're headed in that direction, is one on domestic violence. But I think you made a really important point. The second one, we're going to have like a symposium. I don't know, Mary, it sounds like we may have one of our lecturers on board here. But the other one is about fiscal responsibility, because as a prosecutor, when we were prosecuting domestic violence cases, especially, and a lot of people don't get this in very affluent areas, a lot of people don't think those women typically tended more not to come forward because of the financial problems, and they didn't have financial literacy skills that they needed. Can you talk about that?
Well, there's a lot of shame involved, as you well know.
Mm-hmm.
And abuse doesn't know race, color, creed, or, anything else. It's abuse. And so, most people sort of, when they think of, domestic violence, they're thinking trailer park, and that's not the case at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I put out PSAs, public service announcements, with domesticshelters.org frequently. And we especially were very close during COVID, because then, the victim was at home with the abuser more because nobody could go out. So, I try to keep as much as close as I can to domestic shelters to help them also get the word out. And they're doing great. They're just doing great work. So, but yeah, yes, absolutely. Abuse is abuse. And if it doesn't feel, look, if it hurts, it isn't love.
Right. Good point. Yeah.
Right? If it hurts, it isn't love. So, and that's, that could be verbal abuse as well. It doesn't always have to be physical abuse. And abuse, it takes on many different forms. So, be mindful of that. And then have the tools in place, have the resources in place, have the support systems in place, that if you do have to get up and go, you can get up and go.
Yeah, wise words. Mary?
Yeah.
Before I ask my question, I don't know if you know this, but on TikTok, there's a new signal, or at least new to me, where you raise your hand and then you fold your thumb, and that's kind of the repeat pattern if you're in a situation you need help.
That's right. Yeah. And so, yeah, and that's happening a lot with trafficked girls and women. Just recently, just as a quick sidebar, I have a new gal in my mastermind that Mary has met, and Kelly Sutliff, and she is working with the FBI and the police to find not only the living and the dead, because she's a psychic, so she's a forensic psychic, but she can find the living, she can find the dead, and mostly she's now working with trafficked girls to be able to find where they are, and she's with great success, by the way. So yeah, it's Bob. I think we all do, but Bob in a more in a deeper way knows just how sick this world can be.
Yeah,
So
professionally speaking.
yeah, of course. Sorry. Yes, thank you. Forgive me. Yes, of course. Professionally speaking, yes, of course. Thank you for the clarification, for the clarion call. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like, wow, are we really capable of doing that to one another, kind of thing? So yeah. And so this is a book to gives a lot of strength and a lot of ways out.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So you are a multimedia mogul. You have a magazine, a show, a podcast, you do speaking engagements, and now you have a book. So what's next?
The new network is what I'd like to be working on now. So to have my own network with, television shows underneath me. Either that or marry a billionaire. I'm not quite sure which. I don't know. No, I'm joking. But yeah, that would be the next thing for me as far as business growth would be to have my own network, which is quite a lot of work. So there's a lot going on here. The last cover that we did was a cover of Johnny Versace's cousin. And her name is Juicy Versace. And as you can see, Juicy has prosthetic legs with Swarovski crystals on them. She was a professional runner who was in a very bad car accident in 2005 and lost both of her legs as a young girl. So I met her when I was in Rome a couple of months ago. She's on the cover. And I think she's just a really great story of, just resilience and positivity. And she's also a minister. She's a minister of the equal opportunity minister in Italy. So she's, and she's like the Paralympian, and she's just an amazing woman. So she was the last cover, and now we're working on the next drop, which will be on December 15th, the next magazine coming out.
Awesome.
Lots of work.
Clarissa, you have a very generous heart. You share your time, your network, your talent with us and a lot of other people. And we respect that and we appreciate that.
Thanks, Mark.
And with this book, you're sharing your story. Now, what people may not know is that you're giving a portion of the proceeds to a veterans organization.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that and also where people can purchase your book?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So the organization is called Redefining You. It's women's veterans. They were, thrilled for the collaboration. So they will be getting a portion of the proceeds for every sale. And the book is on Amazon. Right now, it's also in Barnes & Noble if you happen to be close to Barnes & Noble, which is really exciting. And if you're over at the airport there in New York City, what airport did I say it was?
LaGuardia.
LaGuardia. Yeah, if you're at LaGuardia, there's a bookstore in there, and it's right there too. That was a really cool picture to get. Yesterday, a girlfriend of mine found the book in a bookstore in New York, so I was really thrilled with that. Yeah, I was very happy to know that and it's not even out a week yet. The audio portion of the book comes out. The audio of the book comes out on November 23rd. So yeah. It's cool. It's been a great run. It's been a lot of fun. You take a deeper dive into yourself when you do something like this, when you work on a project like this, and I'm thrilled. I've already gotten some really great feedback about what the book has meant to people as they're reading through it. So I couldn't be happier.
That's amazing. Justin, any questions?
Yeah. So our Grand Lodge president of California, Barbara Fumosa-Wisniewski, was wondering, Bob had mentioned that he started 17 books but hasn't finished them. What gave you that push? What gave you that push to get through and push through and finish that book?
I'll tell you, it was when Gary Krebs, who co-wrote the book with me, came to me and said, "I want to write your book." I went, "Okay, so there's interest." And then when we went to the Javits Center to the book show, which doesn't exist anymore, I think they've shut that down. I don't know if they'll bring it back, but certainly it was shut down during COVID. And we walked the halls, and he was telling the different. It was funny because I met with 4 different publishers, and they all were women. And so they were all over the book. And we kind of went, there's something to this then. And that really gave me more of the impetus to just go, you know what? I'm talking about this for 10 years. I'm not going to be here forever. Let me do this because it's the right thing to do. And Bob, the right thing to do is finish your books too. So if you want to meet Gary, I'll be happy to
Yes.
make the connection for you, because sometimes we need a little help. And look, I can write all day long. I don't have the time to do it. And it's his job. He did a much better job at pulling it all together than I did. We met twice in New York. I went up to his house in Connecticut. It's not like I wasn't super involved. I was just involved in every step of the way. But the book came out exactly the way I would want it to. The cover, we had to change a couple times the color, but outside of that, everything went just according to plan.
That's amazing. Justin, anything else?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about something that's in your book, and I was wondering what's behind it and what is on it, and that's your vision board.
I know. What's on it? My vision boards are right behind me. I have two. One is the physical realm, and the other is the spiritual realm. No, it's not like that at all. It's not like that, I promise. But in the visual, I have, the idea of the house I'd like to live in, the kind of, man that I would like to have in my life. There's a picture up there. I can't even see them right here. Private jets, of Bentleys, of beautiful things. Now I keep them up there, and the other thing, recently, a couple of years ago, I had a picture of Oprah up there. And I had a picture of Barnes & Noble up there. So it was, at that time, I wasn't on Oprah's show, but I wound up on Oprah and Friends, her radio show, which was really cool. So it's powerful stuff, these vision boards. And I was not with my book yet in Barnes & Noble, but I was a beauty editor to one of the magazines that was in Barnes & Noble. It was called Runway Magazine. So, the universe works in funny ways, but it certainly did answer. As far as everything else that's up there, it just is, it's the kind of life that I want to live, and the kind of house I'd like to live in. And then the spiritual is really sort of more of the things that are a lot of mass cards, from the Vatican, and, the idea that, and again, I don't know if it's here. Yeah, there's you guys see the Pope up here? He's up there. Where's the Pope? You see him over there? Where is he?
Top left.
Yeah.
Is it over here? Can you see him? I don't see what you see.
Yes.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, right there. There's me kneeling in front of Pope John Paul II, because I was called in twice to the Vatican for the social work that I was doing in Italy. So, look, it's always good to do good, because good things come from it.
Well, Clarissa, it's so inspirational. Every client of mine gets a book that I give to them about how to deal with shame and about resiliency. And I have a funny suspicion your book's going to be replacing that one. There's nothing more powerful, I think, in my career than to listen to people say that the books and materials we've given them have kept them from killing themselves.
Yep.
When they're going through difficult times. So I so much greatly respect what you're doing. We have to end the show, but I got to ask you, is this we're all family here in the Order of Sons of Blues. We're all family. So
well, I'd like to think you guys adopted me, so I'd like to think I'm family too. I don't have Italian blood, but
absolutely. But I need you to settle a score because you are a wise, sage woman.
It's sauce.
No. I knew not to go there with you. I knew not to go there. Here's a question. Have you seen Mark D'Annunzio making pizza yet?
No, have not. But I did see the challenge. I saw it on Instagram, and I saw Mary as well. So yeah, I have not seen him make it, but I will tell you that I made pizza last night, and it was darn good.
I bet you $1 million you didn't have the D'Annunzio outfit on.
I did not have the D'Annunzio. I did not have the outfit on, but I certainly did appreciate that outfit from afar.
All right, awesome. All right, guys, listen, this is the close of season 4. This was our bonus special, our good friend Clarissa Burt. You have to go out and get her book. It's really amazing. And you know what? It'd be a great gift to give. Like Clarissa said, everyone may put a face on, but everyone goes through trauma and tragedy and difficulties in life. And it may just be the gift that helps somebody's life. Clarissa, thank you for all.
Thank you guys so much.
The help.
Appreciate
Justin, yeah, you're the best. Justin, tell us how people can find us. And season 5, we're going to be taking a break. And in season 5, we'll come back with some great guests. But please join us on all these platforms, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. You can head to our website, www.osia.org. If you're interested in becoming a member, you can sign up directly online or find the nearest local lodge. feel free to send us an email at nationaloffice@osia.org. And like Bob said, follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Pinterest.
Cool.
And if you want to see a picture of Mark D'Annunzio and the Mark D'Annunzio Pizza Contest, that's where you need to go. Go to Instagram.
And I would
All
just say, Bob, to our viewers, don't forget to tune in on Sundays on News 12 Plus at 8 p.m. every Sunday. OSDIA Interviews Live will be coming to you. And if you don't live in the New York City metro area, don't worry. It's also streaming on newsplus.com.
And let's not forget that eventually Clarissa's been kind enough to have us on. Why don't you just real quick, Clarissa, let us know about the channel, what we're going to be doing with you.
Yeah, also, you guys are now on In Limelight Television on Binge Network, so I'm thrilled that you're there with us. The channel is growing daily, and again, you get to be seen on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, TiVo, Daily Motion, and another 100 smart television apps as we go. So yeah, that's very exciting. Very exciting. You guys are doing amazing. I mean, from the very beginning, when I was first with you all in the very first season, to see the growth that's taken place in the last year and a half has been unbelievably amazing. So kudos to every one of you. It's a great job.
Thank you very much. No better way to close season 4, folks, than with Clarissa Burt. And that's our wrap. Have a great day.